Imagine following biblical laws and going to jail for it. From slavery to stoning, some biblical laws are so extreme that you'd be shocked they even existed. Let's start with slavery. Article 4 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, states, "No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms." But before 1948, somewhere between 4046 BCE to 1260 BCE is a biblical law from the book of Leviticus chapter 25 verses 44 to 46 that talks about buying people, enslaving them, and even passing them down as property from one generation to another. Just to be clear, slavery had been in existence long before this law was made for the Israelites, and it continued until it was completely abolished throughout the world. Now, whether it was legal in the past or not, anyone would agree that slavery is nothing more than the absence of freedom, forceful servitude, and objectification. Today, anyone caught engaging in the slave trade or enslaving others will serve a jail term of not less than 10 years and can even get life imprisonment for it. While this law was a terrible one, it is nothing compared to the death penalty for adultery. Not to be confused with fornication. Adultery is when a married person has sexual relations with a person who is not their spouse. The book of Leviticus chapter 20 verse 10 says, "If any man commits adultery, they must be put to death even with their adulteress." Of course, adultery doesn't look good, but today it isn't seen as a crime in most countries, but instead treated as a moral issue. However, in some countries with strict religious or moral laws like Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and some African countries under the Sharia law, adultery is still treated as a criminal offense and can carry severe punishment, including heavy fines, long prison sentences, flogging, and even stoning to death. Talking about stoning, that was once the punishment for rebellious children. Check the book of Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 18 to 21, where the law says, "If any child doesn't obey his parents, he shall be brought before the elders and unto the gates, and everyone shall stone him to death, so that he becomes an example for other children who plan to rebel against their parents." Today in the United States, if any parent goes above mild discipline, such as a light spank on the buttocks, they can get reported and punished. While harsh punishments that result in harm and injury are punishable under the law in most countries. However, over 65 countries across the world ban all corporal punishment of children, including light spanking. Therefore, stoning a child to death for any reason is considered murder in any country and would often lead to life imprisonment or the death penalty. Just as working on the Sabbath day could get you killed in the biblical era. The book of Exodus 31, verses 14 to 15, talks about putting anyone who works on the Sabbath to death. And in fact, once a man was found gathering sticks on a Sabbath in Numbers chapter 15, verses 32 to 36, he was indeed put to death. The Sabbath day wasn't just any day of the week, but a sign of Israel's special relationship with God according to Exodus 31, verse 13. However, things are no longer the same today. Aside from the freedom that makes everyone work at their convenience, what we know as the Sabbath day today varies. Jews believe Saturday, the seventh day of the week, remains the Sabbath day, while Christians take Sunday, the first day of the week, as the Sabbath. That alone shows freedom in every form. While these other laws don't allow for much freedom, a particular one says a man is free to marry more than one wife but must ensure care for the first. Although polygamy is still not illegal in some parts of the world, Western countries treat it as a crime that could earn the offender up to 5 years of imprisonment and a fine. However, some women in countries that don't treat polygamy as a crime feel kind of cheated, and honestly, it just doesn't feel right both in the ancient and modern world. Sadly, that wasn't the only law that was biased towards women. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 28 to 29 states, "If a man has a non-consensual intimacy with a virgin, he has to pay her father 50 shekels of silver, marry her, and must never divorce her." This must be the most unfair law of the Bible. Think about it. Just think about it. What about the victim? To think someone wants a victim to spend the rest of their lives with their perpetrator is wild. This law definitely didn't have the victim in mind, and only thought the best way to punish the perpetrator was to force him to marry the victim. Fortunately, that would be illegal today. The same offense is frowned upon in different parts of the world, and punishment ranges from imprisonment to the death penalty. Good thing women are treated better in the modern world, because back then they were also declared unclean for menstruation. In Leviticus 15, verses 17 to 30, the law states that a woman is unclean throughout her period, and everyone who touches her, even her clothes or her bed, shall be declared unclean. That's not all. She is to be declared unclean even 7 days after her period, and has to make sacrifices at the end of it before she can be seen as clean again. For starters, menstruation is an involuntary process which shouldn't lead to segregation or discrimination. But welcome to the Old Testament, where the woman was created to be unclean every month and was blamed for it. Finally, let's talk about homosexual acts and what the biblical law says about them. Leviticus chapter 20 verse 13 says, "Any homosexual act is a crime, and anyone who engages in it should be killed." Apart from the fact that murder is a crime everywhere in the world, targeting someone because of their sexual orientation is now considered a hate crime, which can earn the perpetrator anything between life imprisonment and to death penalty. Which of these laws do you think went too far? Let us know in the comments.